Clear, prop. Here comes the run-up.
All right, we're going to talk today about the top 10 reasons that Mike Babin's airplane may be faster than yours in the air race, which was held this morning. And this is it is a maintenance-related thing we're going to talk about. Mike has a very nice 76 Cheetah that we recently converted to Tiger configuration with a new spar and a factory new engine that he purchased on eBay from True Flight. It was a leftover from Tiger's stock. And they decided that since they weren't able to begin production immediately, having to build a building and go through all the FAA hoops and paperwork, that it was better to go ahead and dispose of the items that were actually had the clock running. Lycoming sells new engines, and they expect that 2 years after it's produced and leaves the factory that they're going to be in service, and if not, the warranty starts running at that point. So with a matter of several months of the 2-year warranty still being left on the engine, they decided they would go ahead and sell the engine separately. And as I understand, Graham has one in his airplane now, and Mike Babin has the other. Like I said, we converted Mike's from a 76 Cheetah to the Tiger configuration with the Tiger spar and the Tiger engine prop, motor mount, and all the rest of the little pieces that you have to have. Most of the parts came from Fletch Air, although Mike was able to come up with a really good deal on a center spar from Air Salvage in Dallas out of the 91 Tiger that someone had run out of fuel and landed 5 miles short of the Texarkana airport. So we were very sorry to see the 1,400-hour airplane went down, but that was the donor. Mike has won consistently out of the last, 6 years or whatever, the air race. He's won 5, and the other year he didn't show up because it was scheduling with FedEx. So he was the person to beat in the Cheetah class. And the shout went up this spring when we announced we were going to convert him to a Tiger. Hey, well, maybe somebody else can win the Cheetah class this year. So I'm assuming that happened today, and Steve Morris will have the results and let us know how that went. But anyway, so because you can see the condensation here around Mike's airplane as he breaks the sound barrier. Go ahead. We're going to do the top 10 lists like Dave Letterman. And one of the things that people underestimate is the amount of drag reduction you can have by cleaning properly your airplane, washing, waxing, removing the bugs, keeping the paint in good shape. The air floating around the airplane would like to be in smooth layers like sheets of paper in a reed. And as the airplane comes through, it disturbs those layers and it transitions from that smooth laminar flow into what we call turbulent flow. It doesn't happen right away, but anything that's sticking out from the fuselage, from the wings, whatever, tends to disturb that air sooner. So by transitioning from laminar flow to turbulent flow at an earlier point on the airframe, you get additional drag. And it's good for as much as 10% difference in drag reduction. And because we're talking about a 3D form here, the airplane is in 3 dimensions, it's not a flat piece. That scales out to be approximately 7% overall. So you can have chips in your paint, bugs, dents, dirt, antennas too, that's true, yeah. Anything that breaks the smooth contours of the airplane tends to cause the air to trip and become turbulent, and that then generates drag. But by having the surfaces that we have smooth and clean and waxed, then the air slides more easily over and transitions to turbulent later in the flow, thereby gaining you a little less drag overall. That's great.
Translate 70% into knots.
Well, I mean, I guess you can take your power calculations to determine how much faster you go and see what you can do with 7% more horsepower. Because when you work against the cube functions, that's not a lot of knots. But at 135, 140 knots, the Tiger ought to be able to run. 7% would be measurable, probably on your airspeed indicator is something you can physically see, not just calculating it out to the decimal places at the end of the flight. Yes, sir.
You're saying, obviously,
gets more turbulent the further back you go. So
And nothing you can do to,
the payback is the further forward you can clean up.
right, you see, as the air flows over the wing, for instance, and gets to just about the maximum thickness point or slightly after that, it's going to break loose from the laminar flow and turn turbulent. However, if you've got bugs and dirt things on the leading edge, it's going to trip it earlier. And that means that section from maybe a few inches up the leading edge to the maximum thickness point over the spar is going to be turbulent, not just the last 50 to 60% of the wing. So you'll lose that. That's why it's 10% and not some huge number. Like I said, it's just a matter of properly cleaning the airplane. I notice a lot of people, when I do inspections and repairs and whatever, do a beautiful job of cleaning the top of the airplane. The bottom of the airplane looks like it has crud on it that's been on there for decades. And the bottom slides through the air as well. And the other area that is probably the biggest bite that you can see is in cooling drain. And this is probably one of the worst areas in terms of, now that the airplanes are so old, and the fleet is at least 30 years old for everybody because the airplanes were last produced in '79 for the '70s series, and some of them this year are now turning 40. We have Roscoe with his oldest Grumman serial number 2 that was produced in summer of '68. The baffles. And why are the baffles bad? It's because people didn't know what to do with it. They took the little hard original strips off and they put that gosh awful orange stuff, pop-ribbon it on all over the place. And who did this? Well, it was the Cessna mechanics. They weren't Grumman mechanics. They didn't perhaps see what the original factory stuff looked like. And then the next guy that came along when the engine was overhauled, so this stuff is in terrible shape, ripped it all off, hammered on the metal, patched some cracks, put the pieces back on, and then began stretching even more of that awful orange, thick, non-reinforced baffle material all over. And just this morning when we were working on Pat Leonard's Cheetah, we were cleaning up and cutting and notching some of the baffle material because we had the prop off at the nose bowl mounted. We just installed the Skytech alternator. And with the prop off, you could look down in the nose bowl and see all these waves and humps in the baffle strip because it hadn't been properly cut and fit. Even if it was of the right material, it wasn't properly cut. There should be short sections such that it can bend and follow the contour of the lower cowl and the nose bowl. Well, he had these great big lumps and waves in it, and of course every one of those was just a place for the air to run under the baffles. Now what that means is he paid the price in drag of bringing the air in through the scoops in the front and decelerating it, and then he wasted it because it went out through those holes without going through the fins of the engine. And that has two drawbacks. One is, of course, he didn't get the cooling, and it also increases the pressure on the hot side of the cooling system below the engine. That means you have less pressure differential from above the engine to below the engine to drive the cold air through the fins. This is a picture we borrowed from Gary Vogt on the right-hand side. He was doing some testing on the cowl to show the airflow, because some of you may know Gary has a new cowl he's working on. This composite has sort of oval inlets that are actually much smaller than the stock inlets on Tiger. I mentioned here the proper inlet to outlet ratio, if you have everything optimized, is about, for our speed of airplane, is about 1 to 3. In other words, the inlet area should be 1/3 the size of the outlet area. Now, the cooling theory has come a long way since the 60s, when most of this that we have today was finalized. If you look at the difference between the early AA1 series and then the later Cheetahs and Tigers, you see they took a step away from that flat nose with some differences in inlets, but the area ratio of the inlet and outlets are still pretty much about two inlet areas to one outlet. Now, I don't know about you, but if you lay out a piece of rope and you try and push that rope, it doesn't push very well. But if you get on the other end and pull, well, you can just yank the heck out of it and it'll move right along. And that's what we have to do with the cooling system. Is the only way we can do this is because we cannot reach sonic and transonic velocities. We can't push the air through so much as we suck it through from the bottom. And by lowering the pressure below, we allow the pressure above to flow through the cylinder fin. So anywhere you've got a leak, be it around holes, you have a different starter, and it doesn't fit the metal baffling, you have to come up with some kind of a rubber or metal plate to fit around the starter. any place where your spark plug wires come through the baffles in the back, whatever that are holes in the metal, those need to be minimized as much as possible and well sealed. And then there's the rubber or flexible baffle strip that has to be contoured to match the top of the cowl and around the nose bolt effectively. And we get on the Grumman gang all the time, people complaining that my Tiger, my Cheetah, my whatever won't cool. I have CHTs in the 420, 450 range, and the baffling, but we've done everything to the baffles. It's not that I have an engine problem. Well, I've seen a number of these airplanes in person, and I can tell you that to a single one, they were virtually all baffle problems. And it has to do with the area in the nose bolt, around the front. It's particularly difficult on the Cheetah because of that NACA inlet. There is some pretty tricky fitting of the flexible strips to go in that area. But the Tigers also have the problem when they don't put the proper pieces in, don't cut them in short segments where they can lay along the contour. Because if you look at that fiberglass nose bolt, that's a compound curve. You can't expect a flat piece of material to lay against that without ripples. So you have to cut it in sections and let it sort of float. And the air pressure inside the nose bolt will push it down to seal. In any case, this morning on Pat Leonard's airplane, we were able to graphically demonstrate that to the half dozen people who were standing around. Once we put the nose bolt up, we were able to look in through the hole where the propeller and spinner normally go and say, see that? And I got out my electronic borescope, and we were able to lay it down in there and show the path that the air could take behind the landing light. There was a big hump, several other places. So we cut and trimmed and helped to lay it down. But on Gary's picture here, if you look real close, you'll see some of those little dots. What that is fluorescent paint or dye in an order. You put those little dots on, and they went out and flew the airplane. And you'll notice that a lot of them were streamed into the inlet, but there's some of them, the tails are coming out. Do you think that how could that possibly be? Well, that has to do with the inlet and outlet ratios and the fact that the air went in, didn't have any place to go, and it turned around and came back out. There's actually air coming out of the inlet as it's very turbulent flow right there because the outlet area was diminished or never sufficiently large in the first place. The early model Travelers and the Cheetahs and Tigers up through 75 and 6 had fiberglass ramps on the air outlet. And I've seen an awful lot of them when the fiberglass has been hot over the years, it sags. We already had not enough air outlet area to begin with, and as that fiberglass sags, you're further lowering the amount of area that you have to let the air out. And the same thing happens with the metal ramps. They crack, they break, people do patches and whatever, and they reduce the area. And on the next slide, we'll flip on over, we see all kinds of amazing repairs to the bottom of the cowls where they crack. And what happens is it begins to close up the area because the bottom of the cowl is no longer smooth and rounded in that area. It becomes flat or even pushed up into the round. And that closes down the exit area. Yes, sir?
Just a quick question. Has anything or anyone done any experimenting with making the outlet ramps larger?
Oh, yes. There are larger outlet ramps on most of the high output engine airplanes. Fred Krakowski's, Peter Otten's, Scott Jernigan's Hyper Cheetah, and we incorporated that into several cowl repairs. Basically what you've got is a 9-inch wide by 3-inch high opening in the stock outlet. And the openings have been widened to 10 inches wide by 4 inches high on the 200 horsepower Cheetah conversion. And I'm not sure exactly what Fred's and some of the other measurements were. Ken, are you familiar with any of those 6-cylinder Tigers that got converted up in your neighborhood?
I wasn't directly involved in doing those. They're larger. We have a template that we make up those things and roll the top very similar, roll them out, and we're using the same footprint. We're opening them up about 1.5 inches and then putting a roll on the top. And we're dropping cylinder head temperatures an average about 40 degrees across the board. Oil temperature about 20 to 25 by just doing this on Tigers and Cheetahs.
That's been my experience as well.
Can we buy those from you?
Yes, if you want to have fun putting them on, we'll bend them up for you.
The ramps, oftentimes you see these repairs that are done here. The Tigers are particularly bad on the right front corner of the ramp outlet on the passenger side of the forward edge. They tend to crack because of the vibration failure mode there. And what I have used to repair this is to widen the ramp by about an inch, and you just cut off the right flange, and that moves the point outboard to areas that the metal is not damaged. You put a doubler on the inside, and then put a taller and wider ramp. The ones that were used on the 200 horsepower hypershooter conversion are 4 inches high and 10 inches wide. The numbers work out to be an almost 50% increase in area. We had 27 square inches with the stock on each one, and the 4x10 openings is 40 inches. And that works out, I said, approximately a 50% increase in area. And as Ken mentioned, it can make a substantial difference in the cooling of the engine. Yes?
Well, I like reference that fiberglass homes track the calorie from the level.
I would tend to say that's been my experience. Yeah, it seems that the metal ones, you think about it, you've got a 3-inch high length of metal standing vertically on the cowl. That's an awful big stiffener, and it truncates extremely abruptly. There's a large change in stiffness there. So as the air ramp is vibrating, it's going to be causing the cowl to fatigue right in the area. They tend to propagate the cracks right from that passenger side front corner.
Well, if I have a fiberglass one, it seems to go into that one, maybe less than.
Well, there's no reason, I guess, that you could look at making a composite one. I know that Gary Boat has made some composite replacements as well. But the point has to do with the inlet to exit ratio is already upside down for what we want. And if you allow your cowl to be damaged and not properly repaired, you allow the fiberglass ramps to sag in the middle, you're further decreasing the area and going further the wrong way. And for people who don't understand the dynamics of what's going on, if you just try and repair and get back to where you started, you're missing an opportunity here to correct part of the problem. Yes, Les?
Hey, Bob, if your fiberglass is in fairly good shape, then folding a couple of pieces of aluminum to simply lift the fiberglass ramp up and riveting it through the same holes, both to the bottom cowl and then at the top side of it to the fiberglass, lifting it up about 1.5 inches works wonderfully.
Okay, well,
Temperatures go down, and it's a nice repair.
All right, well, we have a personal experience over here. Being a sheet metal mechanic, I tend to just, cut it out and make it in part. But saving your old piece and making an adapter may be less work and less traumatic for some folks.
Was that saying that the whole fiberglass is a good idea?
I don't know about the hole in the back of the boot. I've seen the drawing. They told me that it exists. And I questioned Garner and Dave about it extensively, and they said, oh, here's the drawing, it's legal to do this. But the boots are expensive, they're hard to come by. Garner does not have a regular supplier of those. It's catch as catch can. And I would be very reluctant to attack one and cut a hole in it, only to later find out that you couldn't get a replacement if you needed it. So I'm a little leery of that. But yes, more exit area should help in that regard as well.
I get it.
Okay?
I got a solid 15-degree reduction in some of that temperature.
Okay, so those who want to roll the dice on a $380 part and cut a hole in it with an X-Acto knife, here's your man, Jeff can tell you.
It is returnable back to plastic there.
Well,
I returned some holes and nine,
Okay,
well, it says it's plastic.
all right, well, it's a injection molded urethane, and some of the car bumper repair materials may be suitable for that. Like I said, I just have been reluctant to go there. Yes, Dave?
With Rusty's totem pole comes with a huge outlet.
And you see, this is exactly what happened, is that they realized from 1974, when Roy did the original, to here in the later years, that now we have some computer modeling and some more things are understood about the flow. He had already done the Mooney 201 and 252, and they realized that the inlet outlet ratios were wrong. We were using old data from NACA back in the 40s, and they figured out, no, it needs to be turned the other way around. And so he applied his knowledge that he had gained in the preceding 25 years to do that and come up with the smaller inlets and a larger outlet. Now, they couldn't make the larger outlet on the right because on the stock installation, it hit the exhaust pipe and the muffler. And this is one area where I've done a lot of repairs to the lower cowl by splitting it. When the doubler, the rivets start going bad and the spot welds break, you can either just go back with another doubler that's riveted in place, or put one in that's double screwed. Then you can remove each half of the bottom of the cowl separately And that then allows you, without flexing the cowl, to get around the nose strut and the exhaust pipe to take a much larger ramp on the right side as well as the left. So you could ideally stick a pair of low-pressure ramps, for instance, on a later airplane if you were to split the lower cowl. And some people are concerned about the legality of the repair, but the structural integrity is there because we're using a doubler that is at least equal to the original. And we're certainly replacing it with fasteners that are at least equal to the original. It certainly makes the maintenance a lot easier. Anybody who's taking the cowl off and put it back on by themselves knows what a pain that is. You have to be really careful not to scratch the nose strut, whatever else. But if you split it, then you can just take one side or the other off. Mike's plane out on the flight line has got that done as well as, there's probably 2 or 3 others here that I've done. I don't know. I've seen others that other people have done as well. But that would allow you to easily get the cowl on off with a larger ramp. And you're running late on time ground. Next thing is incorrect rigging. I began the rigging checks in 1998 at the first coding convention after a discussion on the Grumman gang about rigging the airplanes properly, and people were like, well, where can we get the tools? Fletcher has them and rinse them out on a weekly basis. And they volunteered to bring them to the convention that year, so we set up a rigging clinic, which I thought would be just a one-time thing to check all the airplanes and everybody go home. But we're still doing it now, and they're free here at the convention this year, and we have checked literally hundreds of airplanes, some of them a couple of times after they've gone home and been tweaked and then come back to the convention. How's it look now? I'm wondering how you were tweaking it if you didn't have the tools that you should have rented from Fletcher to do it properly, but that's another matter. What we find is that consistently at every convention, nobody, and I mean nobody's airplane is rigged properly on every control surface. Most of them have at least 2 that are out of spec. By out of spec, I mean that they don't have enough up or down travel, or in the case of the ailerons or flaps, the neutral position is not right. The ailerons are reflexed up or down, and the flaps have too much play, and they would tend to lift up in flight. And all these things can be addressed. It makes a difference in the performance of the airplane. It makes a huge difference in the handling of the airplane. And if the airplane is properly rigged, it flies much better, hands off, and yes, it is faster. There is discussion about where the flaps should be. Some people say up, some people say down, whatever. You can play with that yourself, whatever you want. You go outside where the type certificate data sheet says you are the test pilot and you are an experimental airplane, and you and the FAA have to work that out. But in any case, getting it correct by the type certificate data sheet does make a difference. I've had a number of people come up to me after the convention when we changed the rigging on their airplane as part of the worst rigged airplane award. And one guy who flew in from Canada said he'd never had the airplane fly hands off since he bought it. And after he flew the airplane, after this was on the coding convention, after he fixed it, he said he went around the pattern, it was hands off, straight level. He said he never knew Grummans flew so nice. He'd had the airplane for years. So you lose performance by having the airplane rigged improperly because you have drag from the control surfaces not being where they should be. In the case of the ailerons, if you overtension the rear portion of the system, which is the classic Cessna mechanic mistake, they're in there looking at your airplane and they think the cables are loose, they put the tensiometer on it, I hope, and they say, oh, there's some slack in the aileron system. Oh, it's 30-year-old cables. I'm not surprised that there's a little stretch. So they open the hell hole, put the bottom of the back seat forward, and look down there. There's a whole bunch of turnbuckles. Well, they find one of them that's in the aileron system. Right, here it is. They take the clips out, start cranking on the turnbuckle, and sure enough, the tension comes right up. Looks good. They put the little clips back in. They reset the aileron tension. What they did was they took all the slack out of the back side of the system. And if you imagine, we have 2 control cables coming from the T down under the console to 2 arms that drive the ailerons. And just as I told you earlier, you can't push a rope. You can't push a cable either. So from those same 2 arms, there's another set of cables that goes back to the tail, around a big pulley under the ELT, and back forward. So when you tighten the cables up, we're always having the system in tension. When you pull on one side, the tension is going around and pulling on the other side as well. So when they tighten only the back half, it leans those arms backward, and that improves the aileron. We're going to get to why that's really bad in a minute. But that's the classic error, and if you walk the flight line out here, hold an aileron at the wingtip with your fingers such that it's centered above or below the wingtip, and then look at the other side. It should be centered. If it's not, then because they operate differentially, you'll have double the total error in the following. It'll be easy to see. The aileron cables need to be reset. Yes, Ken?
Can I interject something? When you think you've seen it all, you've been in the business 35 years, then something comes along you've never quite seen before. We're doing an insurance job replacing a prop and the engine tear down and everything for a guy who porpoised his tiger he had for 3 months. And porpoised it, yeah, got the prop. So we went over to put a lower prop on it, got a ferry permit, flew it 17 minutes over to our field and brought it in, pulled the engine off, shipped it to Lycon, the whole drill. Then we start doing the actual annual inspection, which is due before the thing gets back. And I grabbed a hold of the elevator and just moved it a little bit, and I heard this slap, slap, slap. And the elevator cables are so loose in this thing, they're literally laying on the metal. And I had my mechanic put the control yoke lock in, and you could move the elevator 3 inches downward and 3 inches upward without moving that. Now, I suspect that why this guy got the porpoise going in oscillation, he started chasing this thing and he had so much play in it, the airplane just went on its own.
That could well be. And like I said, cable tensions on 30, 35-year-old airplanes, and I might mention original cables. I've been replacing a lot of cables lately, finding corrosion in the cables. With old galvanized cables and just the moisture in the air after this long time, who knows where the airplane's been in history, down on the Gulf Coast, in Florida, wherever, corrosion. Some of these things are consumables, and we got to consider replacing them. But on to the next item here. A lot of people want to buy a new propeller from Dave Fletcher. They get the STC, and let me stick that high-pitched propeller on my airplane and go faster. Well, does your engine produce enough power for it to actually pull that propeller at full rated speed of the engine? For most of us, that's 2,700 RPM. Some of the two places, it's 26. How do we go back? Well, we didn't want to go forward. There we go. No, I meant on to the, we were talking about the other topic. All right, anyway, what we want to do before you buy that new propeller, or before you have yours repitched, is get up to 8,000 feet of density altitude, get out your quiz wheel, figure out what that number really is on the altimeter, fly right over the throttle, trim it, straight level, hands off, and let it accelerate over a couple of minutes. You want to see whether or not on an accurate tachometer you can turn the full 2,700 RPM, maybe even 2,725. Because if you can't, there's no point going to a higher pitched prop because the engine cannot pull the prop you currently have to the full rated power of the engine. So going to a higher pitched prop is only going to load the engine more. It's like going up a hill, shifting your car up into fourth or fifth gear when you ought to be in second, and it's not going to climb the hill well. Same thing with the prop. So those people want to rush out and buy a 65-inch prop so they can go faster, unless you probably got a ported cylinder heads, power flow exhaust, trick wheel pants, washed, waxed, all the other little things that one can do, is not going to do any good. In fact, it may hurt the performance. The ideal mix of cruise and climb is the prop that can turn full rated RPM at 8,000 feet of density altitude. And if you want a little more climb, we'll back off that. Basically, the rule of thumb is 30 to 50 RPM per inch pitch change. So if you have, for instance, on a Tiger, a 63, which is considered the standard, ordinary combination prop, whatever, by changing it to a 62, the engine's going to give you a little more RPM on takeoff, acceleration, on climb out, and at cruise, and you have to throttle back rather than overspeed the engine at high altitude. But you'll be able to get the full 180 horsepower takeoff and climb out after you get the prop up. At altitude, you can get the full 75%. Now, if you go to the 65-inch prop and you can't turn to 2,500 RPM at altitude, you're only getting about 135 horsepower out of your 180 horse engine. Now, of course, what does that do? Certainly no more speed. You can figure that each inch of prop change is good for about 2.5 miles an hour. So the numbers we're talking about on the Tiger, for instance, are really 5 miles an hour more or less between a 61-inch climb prop to a standard prop of 63 that's 5 miles an hour. And from 63 to 65 is only 5 miles an hour difference. So if you can pull it. And a lot of people have bought those props and find they can't. So that's the first test. You've got to know before you make any changes, either having yours repitched or buying a new one, that you can pull what you the engine can pull the prop that you're wanting to put on. Okay. We talked earlier about the ailerons, and we're talking about the flaps here for the same reason. The plane on the, let's see, I guess that's your left there, it shows an ideal lift distribution being the purplish line. It's an elliptical lift distribution. And this is something we've known now for some 70 years, and why the Supermarine Spitfire had a really tricky looking elliptical wing. Because back then, they didn't know how to twist the wing and do some other aerodynamic stuff to give the elliptical lift distribution. So they did it by making the wing elliptical. And it was, legendary performance, and people were very pleased with it. Extremely complicated to produce. On our airplanes, if the flaps are rigged incorrectly, or there's wear, for whatever reason, they are allowed to float up from the neutral position, then you get the lift distribution that you see on your right. And what that does is shift the span-wise loading of the lift outboard. And that costs you a lot in drag because you have stronger wingtip board seats, because the outboard portions of the wing are doing more lift than rather the inboard. Let's go on to the next one. And this is one of the main reasons that we find this, is the broken flat motor bracket. If you'll open up the hell hole and look at your flat motor, and that's, this is the seat rail right there, and the flat motor bracket is underneath it. Have somebody grab a hold of the flaps and lift up and push down on it. If you see the flat motor move, then your bracket is already broken. If you have not had yours replaced with the updated bracket, it probably is already cracked. It may not be broken all the way through. And here's one I recently replaced. This one had 5 inches of play in the flaps. I'm talking about unbelievable. I grabbed a hold of it, and you could just, like Ken was talking about with the elevator, you could just move the flaps up and down. The guy bought the airplane, no pre-purchase inspection, whatever, and he was Brendan. Stopped seeing me on his way to the paint shop. I said, whoa. There's no point in going to get it painted until you clean up some of the mechanical problems. But in any case, we took the flat motor bracket out and found that was the problem. It was easy to diagnose, because like I said, just flip the bottom of the back seat over, open up the canvas, and look. And he moved the flat. And I could see the flat motor, the whole transmission assembly and everything, rocking back and forth. And that's because this bracket, right here, at the trailing edge was broken, and there it goes. It's very difficult to see. There's 2 rivets at the back of the other bracket, and this rivets it to the bulkhead below the seat. And there's a little tab of metal from those rivets forward to the bracket that cracks right where the bracket changes in section. And that's what we're seeing on the right-hand photo. The new bracket is straight across where that crack is, and there's a separate tab that's riveted on, so that we no longer have the change in section width from the little tail that sticks out the back into the big bracket. And thus far, I've put half a dozen of them on, and they look to be a much better design, because it's not going to be pulling on those corners where the strap comes forward. In any case, by looking back at the previous picture, you don't have to change it. Think about this: if the flaps float up in the middle, because the flat bracket, because of misreading, whatever, we're going to have that non-elliptical lift distribution that pushes the span-wise loading on the airfloor out towards the tips, and that's more drag. Now, we have another common aileron problem, and this is the paperwork for it. This is a standard repair from Grumman. For years, this was an eyes-only thing that a few people at some of the dealerships in the factory knew about. It's now much more common information. And Fletcher will fax you a copy of this particular thing. I've got some in the truck. Hold your aileron between your fingers at the wingtip, such that it's centered, and run your hand underneath it and feel where the counterweight is on all the 4-place airplanes. If your weight is inside the fiberglass, at least flush, but preferably inside, maybe a 1/4 inch or so, you're good. If it's flush to drooping out, and we found 2 or 3 this morning, just walking out on the flight line, one of them that was hanging out more than a 1/4 inch. The bolts that hold the counterweight to the aileron are drilled incorrectly. Now you're thinking, well, okay, what does that mean? It matters because the long of those 2 bolts is the bolt that actuates against the aileron stop. So if it's drilled with incorrect clocking, the aileron can no longer start at the correct up end at the correct down travel because the bolt hits the stop at the wrong time. If the weight is driven down, you don't have enough up aileron, and you probably have way too much down aileron. Now, I've never seen one where the weight was too far up inside, but I've seen bunches of them where they're hanging out the bottom. And for some reason, it tends to be the right one. I've caught a couple of left ones, but I've replaced literally dozens of the right ones. That's all I hand over here. Is that teaching?
Good. You know if that happened in a certain era or across
No,
the
it's,
entire
no, I've seen
production
them travelers, cheetahs, tigers of all years. I haven't seen it yet on a Tiger LLC plane, but I have seen it on several American General planes. So it's not that the guy drilling the right one was just screwing up, because it was done at least 3 different factories. They had Cleveland, Savannah, and then Greenville. And like I said, Martinsburg, I can't say, but there are only 44, 45 airplanes made, and I've only seen a few of those. So I don't know about that, but this is a problem that spans almost all years, and 3 of the 4 known production facilities for sure. Yes, sir.
Wouldn't the weight coming down have significant drag as well?
Well, it doesn't help it. That's right. Anything hanging out in the breeze is going to be a problem. And of course, it's going to be trying to snatch the aileron. It's going to act like a spade and drive the aileron up, giving you a wing heavy on that side, which of course, you're going to run around and tweak the trim tabs. And that's another hit for your performance. You've got drag from the original, then drag from the trim tab. Again, we're talking about the top 10 reasons why Mike's airplane might be faster than yours. Go ahead, Dan. And this is the data up here. This is the drawing showing you put a little sleeve inside and rivet it and re-drill the holes. This is all factory data that you can use and just say structural repair number 217, log book entry, blah, 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 sign it off, go. You don't have to get field approval. There's nothing fancy about it. But you have to have one machine part maybe. It's not serviceable. It's standard repair number 217, which gives you an idea of how many standard repairs there are. We found this morning on the airplane we were just training the reading crew people on, and this is very common in the fleet. And Gil Alexander has volunteered his airplane to be repaired tomorrow in a little maintenance demonstration. If you hold one elevator chip even with the sides of the top and bottom skin, just hold the plastic tip with your fingers, you're probably going to need a helper. Walk around to the other side and look at the other chip. Look how much mismatch there is between the left and the right on this airplane. What do you think that does? Well, one half of the elevator is pushing down harder to hold the tail down than the other. And that translates over an 11.5-foot long stabilizer into a rolling couple that's trying to tweak the aft portion of the fuselage. That means you're going to get a wing heavy situation out of it. Now you've got drag from this being out of position, so you go around and you tweak the trim tabs on the aileron again to make it fly hands off straight and level. And now you've got 2 sources of drag from one problem. Having repaired a number of these, I can tell you that it's an easy 5, maybe even as much as 7 knots, depending upon how far out it is. And this is one of the worst ones, but there are, if it's a 1/4 of an inch, it goes back about 2 degrees. So it's a substantial amount.
That's 4 places or 2 places?
This is only the Tiger and Cheetah with the long tail. Now, it could be done on the 2-place airplanes. I haven't noticed a lot of problem with it. They're both built the same way. Under the plastic tail cone where your rudder and elevator come together, it's these 2 bolts. Those are the torque tubes going out to drive the elevator. At the factory, they misdrilled one or possibly both of the bolts, and so the clocking is wrong and the 2 halves don't match up. And the repair for this is to secure one side in the 0 position where it's lined up, take the bolt out of the other side and move it to the 0 position, and then ream the hole for an oversized bolt. And there is a special NAS call-out which garner stops. We've got some here at the convention, and we're going to do Gil's airplane.
There is a published repair for that also, of sleeving the inside of the torque tube. Now that's on the 4-place planes.
Yep.
It is very prevalent on the 2-place planes. We've fixed a lot of them. But I've found that in many cases it's just elongated holes, and you can get out there and have one person hold one side and take the other one and shift it back and forth like that. And the first time we encountered that was 1976, brand new Cheetah, and they'd elongated it at the factory. And, I mean, it didn't have enough hours, it had 100 hours on it. And an IFR training flight, they told the guy in the back seat, hey, will you stop jumping from one side to the other? He said, I haven't moved. And they were getting this and that, and they looked back and they noticed the thing was shifting every time they hit turbulence. They made an emergency landing.
I'm sure they did. The repair, like I said, can be done. On the previous picture I showed the sleeve going in the tube for the aileron. It works the same way Ken's talking about. You can have a sleeve cut out of a piece of aluminum tube, slide it inside, rivet it with the 8 flush Cherry Max rivets, and then re-drill the hole if you want. But the bolt for small amounts, even if you have to do both sides, may be cheaper and quicker than to take it apart, have a machine piece, and go that out.
Is it the same bolt for the other one?
No, no, it's a different bolt, yes. It's not 10, it's actually about 15,000, so, right, it's an X series bolt. They have a bolt number, then an X. They also make a Y bolt, they're extremely hard to come by, and it's 30,000, so, and then from there you have to jump to the next. I've seen some of them where people have gone from the AM4 quarter-inch bolt all the way to an AM5, 5/16, and at that point, you would have to do the repair Ken's talking about.
That is exactly what the maintenance manual tells you to do. It doesn't give you the options in between.
Right, and that's, you do that and you're done. The FAA will not allow you to go any larger, and you have to go with the repair that Ken's talking about, which is why the oversized bolts and incremental steps are the method of choice today. And like I said, we're going to do Gill's airplane tomorrow. We'll be down there at the maintenance hangar where we were doing the T hangar by the gate where the band comes in and out. That's where we'll take one of these bolts out and leave the hole.
What time are you going to be doing that?
Yeah, tomorrow morning. Relatively early, yeah. 8:30, 9 o'clock, we'll get out there. Yeah, where we were putting the alternator on right, well, we're going to do yours. But anyway, look, as soon as possible in the morning.
Do you mind?
Garner brought us a bag of 10 bolts, so we have up to 10 of them we can do. Anyway, this I did with a little G at the end here. We're kind of kidding about the wrong grease. The truth of the matter is I see a lot of these airplanes that have automotive grease. See that nice red pretty grease in there? That's your, yeah, whatever brand. It's right out of the auto parts store. The correct grease, as called out in the maintenance manual, has been superseded. The most recent grease that Parker Hannafin says we're supposed to use is a mil-spec grease, and it's Shell 22 is what your other was. It's white. When after it's aged and all, it's exposed to the atmosphere, it looks kind of caramel color. But when you first get it out of the cylinder, it looks almost like Vaseline. And I take them apart all the time and find this red grease, blue grease, all different colors. There's two differences. Automotive grease is always inside with rubber seals. It's never exposed to the atmosphere. Our airplane has felt seals. As the moisture goes up and down in the atmosphere, that grease is exposed to that increase and decrease in moisture. And I see a lot of corrosion on the ones that don't have the right grease. I think they don't have the right corrosion inhibitors in the grease. And in fact, if you take a glass of water and put a teaspoonful of grease in it and let it soak for a while, you'll find that the grease actually sucks up some of the water if you use the automotive grease. So use the right grease. It's cheap. It's $6 for aircraft spruce for many years supply for a private owner. I buy 2 or 3 of them a year from aircraft spruce, and I do lots of airplanes. So for $6. In any case, the other reason you don't want to do it, you see those globs? This person puts way too much grease in there, and when the wheel spins, it slings out into and the grease is thrown into those corners. That moisture we're talking about is soaked up by that grease and then held against your aluminum magnesium alloy casting, and it begins to corrode. And I have a couple of wheels, I was not able to dig one of them out to get a picture of them in time for the convention, that are actually perforated. If you bought a new wheel recently, you're going to know that you don't want that to happen to your airplane, because they're about $800 for one wheel, and there's a 12-week lead time if you're lucky. So we had called Parker Hannafin and get a whole set for an airplane recently that had a set of Cessna wheels on it. They had them coat. No, they were Cleveland wheels. They shrunk the correct part number. And this had been through a pre-purchase inspection at another well-known shop, and they apparently looked at the numbers on the wheels, and it's part of the inspection. In any case, we took them apart, cleaned it up, looked at the tags, said, uh-oh, you got the wrong wheels on this one. They had 1/4-inch bolts instead of the 5/16s. We called Cleveland, and they were like, well, we can build you a set. It was going to take 8 weeks, which we thought was outrageous. It took 12. And multiple calls, and it was $2,000 to only ship it to you overnight express after they take 12 weeks to build it. Yeah, they had to go out and mine an ore or something, I don't know. In any case, use the correct grease, because what happens is it slings out inside here if you do too much, you have the wrong grease, you get corrosion, and you're going to spend a lot of money unnecessarily. All right, here's one of the big ones. Here's where people lose speed all over the place. You may or may not be familiar with this graph. I hope you are. This is a representation of what the loading graph for your Grumman looks like. And if you're loaded in that front box that says utility at the lighter weights and more forward CGs, then you can go out and perform the minor aerobatic stuff that's listed on the placards and in your approved flight manual supplement. Back in the normal area, which is where a lot of us fly, if you have more than one person in the airplane or full fuel, you can go all the way back to the aft limit. Most people think that's only if you're carrying gold bullion or something in the back of the airplane. That's not true. You want to load towards the aft end of the CG. If you just go out on your standard Traveler or Cheetah and on these Tigers that have more instruments and radios in the panel than the airplane is worth, you're going to be loaded right over here where the red X is. That's out the front of the forward limits. Well, you fly the airplane, it still flies okay. It's going to be a little harder to rotate and get off the ground. And you do seem to have a little problem landing just on the mains and holding the motor. But the airplane flies okay, except that it's slow. The wing produces what's called a pitching moment. And that causes the nose to be going down and the tail is back there to essentially pry it up. Think about the teeter totter. The tail is pushing down to hold the nose up. And the more forward your CG, the harder the tail has to pry up, down at the back, to pry the nose up. That's right. That costs you speed. Do an actual CG weight and balance calculation for once in this decade and see where you're at. 2 people in full fuel on any of the airplanes we fly are going to be out there pretty darn close to the red X. If you got a steel spacer on your Traveler or Cheetah Prom, you're definitely out there with 2 people in full fuel if those people weigh 200 pounds apiece or between the 2 of them. And that's going to cost you significant speed. Now, I don't want you to rush out there and pile all the bricks you can find in the back of the baggage compartment, strap them down, and go test fly the airplane. Figure out where you're at, and then calculate how much weight it'll take to move you halfway. Put that 40 or so pounds in the baggage compartment, go test fly the airplane. You're going to find that the control forces have changed, and it's going to feel a lot different. So I don't want you to rush out and go immediately to a full aft CG. After you try that, come back and load a little closer. And as you get back into the 1 or 2 inches away from the aft limit, you'll be able to see on the airspeed indicator a very noticeable difference. I had a guy flying in one day and he said, my Cheetah will only go about 115 knots. And I looked it all over. I couldn't really see any problems. No, we were getting full excursion of the throttle. The engine had good static RPM. Everything looked good on the ground. I looked at the weight and balance paperwork. Oh my gosh. He had the steel spacer. Somebody had modified the airplane and put a 35 amp hour battery in it. That's more weight ahead of the firewall. And he had dual Grumman 430s and all kind of other stuff. The airplane was just terribly nose heavy, just with him. Now he was a little hefty, at about 280 pounds, but just by himself, with full fuel, the airplane was near where that X is out the front. So I went in, got a bag of oil dry, weighs about 40 pounds, slipped it in the baggage compartment, strapped it down, and said, well, let's do a couple of laps around the pattern, come back, tell me what you think. He came back, he said, oh my gosh, the airplane's 10, maybe 12 miles an hour faster. And I didn't even really take time to let it accelerate, because I could see it right there on the airspeed indicator. And he wasn't anywhere near at that point after, but he was just back inside the normal limits. Well, this is a really important reason, and this is one that Mike will tell you why he's faster than you are, is because he ballasts his airplane with jugs of water, which, by the way, are real handy if you get caught out somewhere, or if you're going to carry some people later, you just dump the water out on the ramp. You don't have to leave whatever ballast it is you're carrying around. That's all handy.
10 knots or 2 gallons an hour.
Well, that's true. In the age of $5 and even $6 a gallon avgas, you can throttle back and go the same speed that you used to go in. And that can be dollars in your pocket. Excellent point. And the number one reason why Mike's airplane may be faster than your airplane, whoops, well, here's the item we're talking about. Your steel drop spacer, you may have an original heavy Presto-like starter. You may have had your airplane converted to a 1/4-inch windshield. You may have an engine conversion with higher horsepower, like the Tiger conversion of the Cheetah or the 200 horsepower conversions or any of the other ones. Has your airplane been repainted without stripping it? A lot of them have, by the way, at this point. You have undocumented repairs that maybe were never entered into the weight and balance, or radios, that happens a lot. How about this bird nest we found in the tail? I took a 15-pound nest out of one wingtip one day. Yeah, and the birds had built it over a 2-day weekend. We worked on the airplane on Friday, came back on Monday, and those suckers over the weekend had put 15 pounds in that wingtip. We waited because it just kept dragging it out, dragging it out. It's like, oh my gosh. 15 pounds. Anyway, that's right. Okay. Well, next to last one, naked passengers. All right, I got your attention. How much do the people weigh? How much do you weigh? Oh, I weigh, it's like how much you weigh when you're standing on the scales after you've been in the shower and come out there naked and you're looking and trying to find the sweet spot on the scale. Yeah, okay. Come on now. You don't fly that way. You got your shoes. You got your pants. You got your shirt. You got a wallet. You got a bag full of charts. You have to have a realistic weight for what people weigh if you're going to calculate an accurate weight and balance. I flew in a Tiger where we had a guy that weighed what he allowed. He was 220 pounds in the back seat. And when we finally got him on the scale, the truth of the matter was it was more like 280. And boy, did it make a big difference in that. We went to flare at landing. It's like, whoa! Find out how much people weigh and calculate an accurate weight and balance. And if you regularly fly towards the aft end of the CG, you're going to find that you gain that speed, or you can gain the fuel economy by throttling back. Now, this one. All right, here's the number one reason why Mike's airplane may possibly be faster than yours, because it's been modified in accordance with DARPA statute 209.45B. You do need to secure all the loose items, and it can only be used for 30 seconds continuously. Any questions?
Yeah, what is that?
I'm sorry, I served as Mike's crew chief over the last 5 years. I can't tell you that. Oh. You'll see the little switch in the placard in Mike's airplane. You can ask him about it after. Questions? Yes, sir.
Yes, in the second prior issue of the A1A magazine, I forget the name, right, he was writing about cooling problems with respect to oil temperature in his Tiger. And a fix that he employed, which was to cut a rectangular piece out of the back of the nose wheel loop. And you were talking about that earlier, but I would assume that that would affect cylinder head temperature as well as oil temperature.
I would say that's probably accurate because you're increasing the airflow out of the cowling, so more air entrained through the upper cowling, through the fins, through the oil cooler, and out should carry away more heat from everything. I would say, yeah, that's reasonable to
okay, in addition to this kind of fix to the problem, what about louvers? Are there anyone that makes a louver that you can put into the...
I'm not aware of any approved louvers to be added, and I'm not really sure that that would be the best way to gain more exit area in terms of the amount of drag or the amount of area that you gain. We don't have anything protruding out of the cowl on the later model airplanes to trip the flow. You'll notice the cowl is flat and the ramp is all on the inside. And by having a louver that's popped up, you're going to be causing the air to have to be pushed out of the way a little bit to create that suction. It's like making little tiny cowl flaps for your little tiny vents. I think you would do better by having larger openings on your existing ramps. Yes, Kevin?
We've had good luck. We've done a few cowlings with louvers, but they're internal louvers. And if you're familiar with John Coe's 260, he's got a setup in the bottom of his. I think Joe Burr's got him, or had him, whoever owns his airplane now, that first 200 horse, we had him on it, and there's one other one we did him on. But we gained, it was a Turbo Tiger we were working with that we had terrible cooling problems with, and that did the most good of anything, was putting 5 louvers 4 inches high on each side, right back in the lower corner of the cowling.
Okay, somebody who's done it. Yes, sir.
There is an STC for ground adjustment valve flaps.
That's correct, there are. And
Those guys, towers, what they look like.
have you seen the cover flaps on the travelers that stick off the bottom of the early model traveler tower? All it is a little piece of metal bent down about 45 degrees. It's the same effect on the ground adjustable ones. Even though most people never adjust them, they just put them on, run them down, and let it go. It's a
So
piece of
that's forward.
it's at the forward edge of the hole to trip the air and create more suction and more gas. All right, we've run out of time. Thank you very much. We'll have to thank you. Photos showing the extensive flooding. And last night, our